Well, hello, students. This is Professor Shlomo Levy, and it is my pleasure to be working with you this semester as we study American history. I'm recording this video as a way to establish a more personal rapport with the students and also to show you a few things about our course in preparation of our upcoming exam. This would be the first exam of the course, and this normally occurs around the third week of the semester or in a 10-week course around the end of the second week. So let me show you a couple of things. First of all, I want to comment on your first assignments. I've had a chance to read all of your autobiographies, which was your first assignment for the course. And based on those that I've read, I see that we have a very interesting group of students. You're very diverse in your backgrounds, very intelligent, obviously, and motivated. And some of your career goals show that you have a lot of promise and a lot of ambition. So I think that's very important for students also to read about the people they're studying with, whether you're doing it online or in the classroom, to see what interesting group that we have with us this semester. At the beginning of the course, really before the course started, I sent all the students a presentation called Who is Professor Levy? And for those students who did not do well on their first assignment, which was the autobiography, I suspect that they did not read this presentation. And then I give a lot of background about myself so that you can know something about the person teaching the course. And I've learned a lot about you, the students taking it from reading autobiographies, but I go through, my history, my education, my teaching experience, talk a little bit about Alan Brinkley, who's the author of our textbook for the course, Unfinished Nation. He was actually one of my professors at Columbia, so I know him, and partly that's why we're reading his book, because he's one of the best living professors in the United States today. And I talk about my teaching philosophy, which is important, my whole approach to education and teaching and learning, my history of grading. But what I'm getting to, or getting at, is this slide that described your first assignment for the course. And it said that this is a one-page typed assignment, and then I gave very detailed instructions on the criteria of what it was supposed to contain and how it would be graded. So I suspect that students who did not read this did not know the details about the assignment, and therefore submitted sometimes these one-paragraph blurbs that didn't tell us very much and did not satisfy the requirements. This was a 20-point assignment. So what I said in my comments to students in that case, that if you did not read the instructions, then you could resubmit that assignment by the end of the week, and I will recalculate your grade based on your new submission. But it is important, I think, this demonstrates that you follow all the instructions in this course and complete all your assignments on time and place them in the places that they need to be located. So with that, as we approach our first exam, I create a folder, a test prep folder, and in that folder, I try to give you a sense of what to expect on the exam. So this first exam usually covers the first 3 chapters of the text, and it includes my PowerPoint presentations. So that shows you what I emphasize on the topic, what I present to students, and what we discuss. So those PowerPoint presentations, the historical documents that I assign each week, and things that we discuss in our discussions. So in addition, I give you a review sheet, which some students find helpful. It's not required. Here's a sample of the review sheet. And I break down each chapter what the important people, terms, or concepts are. Let me enlarge that for you there. So that you can see a list of all the important things, people, places, concepts covered in each chapter. Now, I create this as a checklist. So you shouldn't look at it until after you've actually done all the reading carefully and thoroughly, looked at the presentation, and then as a checklist, you check off or cross out everything you recognize and know. So that out of a long list like this, there may be 30 things, but if you've done the reading, I would say 95% of them should be familiar to you. And there might be 4 or 5 things that you don't recognize immediately, and then you can look those things up. So that ensures that there'll be nothing on the exam that you don't recognize. Now, I don't ask questions about everything, obviously, on the list. I only ask about 30 questions on the exam with the possibility of 1 essay. So it is, if you know this material, then you will do very well with the multiple choice part, as well as having content to use in your essays. Lastly, on the review sheet, I don't recommend rote memorization. I use a technique called association. So you look at a list like this, and although there may be 30 things on this list, there are only about 3 or 4 topics. So if you look at someone like Marco Polo, well, he's an explorer, and so I would put him in the same category in my mind with people like Christopher Columbus, right, or Ferdinand Magellan, right? But then someone like Cortez, these are the conquistadors, right? Then they would go with people like Pizarro, or even the term conquistador here. Similarly, if you look at the Olmecs, these are one of the early Native American communities. Well, I associate the Olmecs with other early American civilizations, such as the Aztecs and the Mayans. So I will put all of them into one category, all the explorers into one category. And so, therefore, all of these things fall into maybe 3 or 4 topics. And that is easier to remember and also easier to associate. So as opposed to having isolated, unrelated facts, everything we learn is connected logically to something or someone or some topic, an idea. When you see that big picture, then you're able to understand why it's important and how it's connected. And I do that for each chapter. I also have a link to an older version of your textbook, The Unfinished Nation. When the book first came out, and until a few years ago, the practice questions and online resources were free. And so they had this link to the textbook. That is still available if you buy the book new. But now McGraw-Hill often wants to charge students a separate fee for these practice questions. So as you can see here, and I put this kind of back door, you can still use the free practice questions from the older edition as long as it's still up. You pick the chapter that you want, say chapter 1. You say you want to do some, say, multiple choice questions, and it will give you practice questions based on the chapter. These questions do not count. They do not affect your grade, but it's a way to test yourself and see how well prepared you are, where you're strong, where you're weak, and what you might need to study on. If you did purchase the book and you have access to the latest practice questions and resources, then you could use the history lab that came with your text, or access that through the McGraw-Hill website. But that is what to expect on this first exam. How will you take it? Okay. All of the exams are located under the test tab. So it's not going to be in the folder of your assignments. You go to the test tab, which you'll see on the left in blue. It says tests. You open that test tab, and I have a summary of the honor code that we use in this course. So I don't use words like plagiarism. Basically, you will take the exam as if we were doing it in class and I was there watching you. So you cannot use any books. You cannot use notes. You cannot use the review sheet. You cannot use the internet or any electronic resources or any outside assistance during the exam. So I just put it simply, your brain is allowed. Anything else is cheating. And there are a lot of things in Blackboard to identify people who are violating these honor procedures. But I want you to be aware of that. I have the review sheets again in this folder, as well as in the exam prep folder. And I have a practice test that you can use just to test your equipment. So the questions here are not related to our content per se, but it makes sure that the exam displays properly on your screen. So if you open up the practice exam and you say begin, you'll see questions, and you should be able to see displayed properly on your exam true and false type questions, multiple choice questions, matching questions, and essays. And if everything displays properly on your screen, that is, you get this box where you can put your essay in, you get the drop-down menus for the matching, you could choose your answers, then that means your computer works fine with Blackboard and you'll have no problem opening the real exam. The only difference will be with the real exam, those will be real questions. But the technology and how it works on your computer is the same. I recommend doing this at least one time if you're using a computer for the first time to make sure that you won't have any technical problems. If this works, then you'll see the exam that is due that week. So test number 1 will be lit up, meaning like this, that you can actually click on it. It is only available during the exam window. So when I say that the exam will take place this week, say from Thursday to Sunday, you have from Thursday to Sunday to take it. After Sunday at midnight, the exam will not be available. So you have to take it during the times that it's available during that window, which is normally about 4 or 5 days. Right? So it's self-scheduled in that sense within that window. You do have weekdays if you want to use the college campus. So that's why it's available on Thursday and Friday. I also give you the weekends, Saturday and Sunday, if you want to extend it out over the weekend. But you must take it during that time, and then it will be lit up. The last thing with exam procedure, speaking of security, is the college is now required to verify that students using the Blackboard course modules are actually the same student who registered for the course. So there have been a number of instances of students who have not only cheated, but have often hired other students to take the course for them, to do their assignments, to take their exams. And so, although that's very rare, and I'm sure that most of my students do not cheat and do not engage in any of these illegal and unethical practices, we have a new procedure in place now whereby students must verify their identity in Blackboard. So that's not just the username and password that you use to log in. That information could be given to anyone and they could pretend to be the student entering it. Instead, you'll be asked to verify your identity using this biosignature. Okay, that's already installed on some of the assignments. It will be on all of your exams. So for instance, I installed one for week 2. Before you can answer the discussion, you'll see this. You'll have to verify your identity with this. And you only need to do this once for the entire time that you're a student at Northampton Community College. If you've already done it in another course, then you already have your biosignature and you can use it in this course and any other course using Blackboard. If you haven't done it, then there's a tab that makes it very easy for you to do. It only takes about 5 minutes. And that is right here on your left, called the BioSig ID Enrollment tab. And this is where you would create your biosignature. You'll click that. It will take you to a page. It has a video explaining the whole process. So I'm not going to show that now. It's a short video, but I recommend that you look at it because it walks you through the steps that you need. But when you're ready to do it, make sure you do have available in front of you some official identification. This could be your student ID for Northampton Community College. It could be your driver's license, but some photo identification available. Of course, you need to be on your computer with an internet connection and a computer with a webcam. And if you don't, there are other options of how to do this. In any case, once you start it, and I have a screen here to show you what it looks like, you will be asked to identify your own biometric signature. And so using the mouse, say for instance, this person made a T, a X, a 4, and a 7. The difference between this versus using the keyboard is that each student's signature, whether they write letters, symbols, patterns, is going to be unique to that person. So the way you actually write this, or whatever you put in these boxes, is unique to you, and someone else writing it will not be able to match the way that you create what you've chosen and how you create it. So in this sample, if it's TX47, the way you write TX47 is going to be distinctive to your handwriting, and this is what you will enter when you are asked to give your biosignature. And so that's basically how it works, and you'll create that, and once you've done that once, anytime you are in this course, any other course that asks you to verify your identity, that's what you'll do. So again, the video is there of how to do it. As long as you have your identification, you'll be able to create that identity. Even if you don't have a webcam, there are ways that could be done as well, and they explain that. And then this is the actual link. This is the description. This is the link that when you click this, you'll be able to create your identity. So that's what I wanted to go over. You will need that identity created to take this first exam. You also need it to complete your discussion for this week. So if you haven't done this yet, please do it shortly so that you'll have time to take the exam, and that you will also be able to complete your discussion assignments for this week. So I could have included this in an email. I hope the video description was a little more helpful in showing you the things that we'll be doing and what you'll be using. One other thing that you might not have noticed, but it's unique to my show, I created it, is videos and movies. So they're great documentaries and films on almost everything in American history. And I recommend great movies and films each week in the syllabus. And this is how you would get to it, give you everything except the popcorn. But you would click this link. If you're off campus, then you'll get a login screen. We have to verify that you are a Northampton student, because these movies aren't free. The college pays for them. And then you'll be able to stream it live, uncut, without commercials, and watch anything you want, either what I recommend or anything you want to look at. I also have links to the History Channel, which has great videos on almost everything we study in American history as well. So these are just some things that I hope will increase your enjoyment and understanding of the course. But if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me or to come by my office during office hours. Always identify the class and section that you're in and state what the issue is so that I could try to address it immediately. So again, I'm glad to be working with you, and I hope you're enjoying the course, and good luck on this first exam. Take care and be well.